I'm not really a horror movie guy. The genre has just never appealed to me that much, but every now and again, one will come along that really gets me. Generally speaking, I haven't even seen that many horror films, but I know for a fact that my current favorite will very likely stay in that spot for the foreseeable future. That film is Hereditary, which came out this year and was quickly proclaimed a modern masterpiece of horror and one of the scariest films in recent memory. I wholeheartedly agree with that, and I wanted to talk about why I love this movie so much and how it exemplifies everything I want from a horror film. And there will be plenty of spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen Hereditary yet, go see it and go in blind, because that's the best way to experience it. A big part of what makes this film so effective and memorable is simply that it exists in the modern landscape of horror, surrounded by films that are, well, a lot worse. Everyone knows the structure of a big studio horror movie. Someone goes into a new, mysterious house, there's a demon or there's something in the walls, there's an expert who knows everything and explains the whole backstory in one big dump, and then the family or everyone has to band together and fight off the evil. In many ways, Hereditary is a fairly conventional horror film. It has the occult and demons and possessions and family struggle. It's not reinventing the wheel. The fact that Hereditary tackles all of these elements in a very powerful and emotional way makes it stand out, but the film also works so well because it's very patient with the actual horror. As many people are so happy to hear when I tell them, this film has no jump scares in it. It just builds on this sense of unease as mystery after mystery is revealed and the real story starts to become more clear. And again, because the modern horror landscape conditions you for jump scare after jump scare after jump scare, in this movie I was always tense, always waiting. And Hereditary just makes you wallow in that tension. Things don't get really crazy until pretty much the very end. But this film really clicks when you consider the biggest stylistic motif, which is the miniatures. Through the whole film, Toni Collette's character Annie is shown to be building these miniatures for an art show, recreating scenes from her life on this tiny, controllable scale. This not only shows the character's attempts to process her grief and trauma, but also establishes the idea of all of these characters being trapped. It's not just a character choice, and it's very telling that the first and last shots of the film showed miniatures becoming real life and real life becoming a miniature. Hereditary is bookended with the idea of confinement, which I felt built this interesting barrier between the story and the audience that made me feel all the more helpless as these horrible things unfold. The writer and director of this film, Ari Aster, definitely intended this. In a Variety interview, he said that he pitched it as a story about a long-lived possession ritual told from the perspective of the sacrificial lamb. A lot of horror movies have had families uncover ancient rituals and supernatural secrets, but the expectation is always that the evil will be defeated. And then there will probably be some dumb tease at the end where the film goes, or was it? Because it might be successful enough for a sequel, and everything wants to be The Conjuring now. Hereditary does tell a fairly contained story, but the ending is what makes it perfect. It's just so bleak and devoid of hope. The family are all dead or possessed, the demon is reborn, and the coven celebrates. Evil wins. The power of family and love are completely useless. And when you look back across the story at every twist and development, it becomes so clear that this was the only ending for this story. There was no escape. Especially when you consider that in the film's world, this is neither the first nor last time that this ritual has been completed. So the ending isn't just grim, it's cyclical, it's eternal. And the family at the center of the film is trapped in the middle of something they can't believe because it doesn't seem real. That's always been one of the most appealing ideas of horror to me, the idea of not quite understanding what's going on, of the villain being somewhat intangible. But in this film, the perspective of the audience is put before the perspective of the characters, and by the time the characters catch up with the audience, it's too late. Again, as Ari Aster said in that Variety interview, this is absolutely inevitable. The family has absolutely no agency. And that's why I love Hereditary, because it offers no escape for the characters or the audience. The family doesn't join hands and banish the evil spirit with help from Charlie's ghost, they just become part of a ritual that they don't and can't understand. This film drags you through some heart-wrenching, painful scenes, delivers some intriguing revelations, and then ends with one of the most unsettling endings to a film I've ever seen. And all you can do is sit there and watch, but it feels far more visceral than I'm making it sound. I had a really weird reaction to this movie when it was done. I started crying, this sort of weird relief crying, like all the tension just came out of me at once when the credits started rolling, and then in the theater bathroom afterwards, I felt like I was on the edge of a panic attack. It was bizarre. The entire way home, up until the moment I fell asleep, I was having trouble breathing. I was just freaking out, and no movie has ever done that to me before. So obviously, Hereditary is sticking with me. Maybe I loved this movie so much because I haven't explored that much horror, so it does a lot that I haven't seen before, or maybe it just hit me at the perfect time, just clicked with me. Whatever the real motivation, I just wanted to gush about this movie because I haven't stopped thinking about it for weeks. This is definitely my favorite movie of the year so far. I can't wait to see what Ari Aster does next, and I will never stop recommending to everyone to see Hereditary as soon as possible. I would end this video with that recommendation, but I also just spoiled the entire movie, so that's your problem. I want to see more horror movies like this. I want to feel trapped. I want to be surprised at the road taken to a deeply disturbing ending. I want to be scared. I don't want to see a giant clown crawl around a garage. That's goofy. How did so many people love it? Did I see the same movie? Am I taking crazy pills?